Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the weekly Wednesday night must-see TV or YouTube or Facebook or whatever it is. Marquee show here on the DJNTV network. I'm super jacked to have one of the 2025 Marquee show presenters and someone that I think is one of the leaders of the Chicago special event markets. From the world-renowned Pink Noise, say hello to my good friend Roberto. Everybody, how you doing, Roberto?
What's up, guys? I'm great. Happy to be here. Thanks for the invite. Excited to share whatever you guys want to ask.
Yeah. So, for those of let's start at the beginning because I've known you for a bunch of years now, but I don't really even know your story. I mean, I know bits and pieces from it. So why don't you kind of tell people your story, your background, and then kind of what Pink Noise is, what it's all about, the market that it serves, and we'll go from there.
Yes. So, born in Ecuador. I'm a South American immigrant, right? My background as a DJ started when I was 14. My brother brought a friend DJ at his birthday party, and I stared at the turntables and I saw how he mixes the records. It just literally struck my life. Ever since then, I decided I want to be a DJ.
Now, was that in Ecuador or was that here in the
Ecuador?
States?
Yeah,
In Ecuador, okay.
Yeah.
And when did you come to the States then?
So I came here when I was 18.
Okay.
But by the time I was 16, I was already a mobile DJ over there.
Okay.
I just gave up school and say, you know what? I just want to be a DJ. And my mom
No,
got
you-
mad.
Did you really give up high school?
I gave up everything.
Wow.
So this is what I've done all my life. So-
How did you sell that to your mom that you're not going to you're not going to finish high school?
So I actually finished high school. I was going to I finished second grade on high school, right? And then I told my mom, you know what? I just want to DJ because I already know too much about like school stuff. I'm really good at math and everything, good at numbers, and I already know what the teacher is saying. So I don't want to study no more. I just want to be a DJ. And she's like, no, you're crazy. You can't be doing that. You got to finish school. You got to get a career. That's what you got to do in life. And then I start making money. So I start charging for my parties. And suddenly I start making good money, more than my mom's salary. And I say, you know, Mom, I can help you. I can help you, pay for bills and stuff. And she's like, no, you need to get a career. And she got mad. And she's like, literally tossed me out to United States to my dad. So no, you go with your dad. You're not staying here because I don't want to see you here. Like that, you don't want to go to school. You don't want to pursue college. None of that. You're going to your dad because my dad was an immigrant here back in the 80s. So my dad is like, okay, well, come over here. But when I got here, then you suddenly enter this. Everything is so accessible now because now you see so much gear and you're just drooling about the gear that you can get. You started listening to the music, records that I never heard, records that were so expensive to buy over there to start DJing with.
Okay.
So then you're in the United States, you go to record shopping and you find these records that were so rare, and now you start collecting your records. And year into being here in the United States, I DJ at a house party for a friend.
Okay.
And then I got hired to DJ at a little school party at Lakeview Learning Center because I used to take English classes over there. And they hired me to do a little party there. Then after that, just keep buying gear, records.
And what year was this, out of curiosity?
This was like 85.
Okay.
Yeah, 85, 86, somewhere around that.
Gotcha. So how old are you? What year were you born? Let's go.
1970.
Okay, you're younger than I am. Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm 54. I'm going to be 55.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll be 56 this year.
Yeah.
So very good. So then you started DJing and then keep going.
And then one day, walking down the street, Clark Street Avenue over there, looking at all the gramophone record shops, all those like secondhand tune record shops. I run into Midwest Stereo.
Sure,
I don't know if
Sammy.
you guys remember that, right?
Yeah.
So I go in the store and I see like Techniques 1200s and Newmark PPD mixer.
For
All the
those of
great,
you that are from outside of Chicago watching this, Midwest Stereo is one of the biggest DJ supply stores located in the city. About, what would you say, 10 minutes maximum from Wrigley Field?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, to give people outside of the area kind of an idea of where it was. So, in the
yeah,
hustling, bustling area of the Northwest Side. So, but go
yeah.
on.
Great store. So I walk into the store and then I met Sammy, who became my boss afterwards, right? I met Sammy, and it's like, yeah, you can buy this. You know, you can put a layaway plan. You know, $10 a week, $20 a week. So I put on my first pair of Techniques 1200s on layaway,
Okay.
and, and then I, just keep paying $20 a week, $30 a week, whatever extra money I had. Pulled out my 1200s, and then I was like, okay, finally I got my 1200s. Now I just need my Newmark mixer. When I get all that together, I'm going back to Ecuador and just be, a DJ with the greatest gear now.
Okay.
But then I just started DJing more and more here in the city. And one night I went to a club. Uh, it was like probably the biggest Hispanic club up in the city, Lawrence and Western up north side Chicago, called
Okay.
Casanovas.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then I heard the DJ. It was like, wow, this DJ, all he does is just plays one track after the other. He doesn't blend. And I go to the management, like, hey, I'm better DJ than this guy. I can mix like the salsa, all the Latin rhythms, on beat, and do transitions with it. This guy is just playing one song after the other. That's not a DJ, not from where I come from. And they're like, oh, really? You can DJ better than this guy? I said, I'm not saying that, but I can definitely do better job. So I filled out the application, and 3 weeks later, they called me. It's like, hey, why don't you want to come down and cover for this guy? The DJ is going on vacation for 3 weeks. You want to cover for him? And I was like, sure. So they put me on like the floor where you play house music, freestyle, and hip hop. And me coming from Ecuador, I don't know what house music is.
Okay.
I don't know what freestyle music is,
Sure.
And then, but the good thing is like the venue used to supply the records. They
Okay.
used to supply the gear. So I go walk into a booth full of records. I knew how to mix it. I just didn't know the tracks. So then I start, doing my sets during the night, and the management start complaining, hey, this guy's saying that you're not a good DJ because you're not playing, what the other DJ was playing. I was like, okay, I'm just here to cover 3 weeks, and that's it. But during that process, I was playing some of the Spanish music into those mixes, and that was some of like the kind of housey beat Latin songs that were popular where I came from, and they were not known in here in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, like Latin house came popular at some point here in Chicago. So it was like
Right.
some of those rhythms. So, and I was super familiar with the music. So I was like, okay, I can play this on this floor, even though there's a lot of house mixed with Latin. It kind of started blending very well. So they started to get familiar with my style. So to make a long story short, when the DJ came back from vacation, they fired him. They didn't give him the job back. They kept me.
Oh, wow.
Because apparently by me switching the music around, the bar was getting more action. They were drinking more, and they were making more money at the bar.
Gotcha.
And they offered me the gig there for 4 nights a week.
Wow.
So I stayed there for almost 4 years as a resident.
Okay.
Then I moved into another club back then on Logan Square up north side of Chicago as well. It's called Tequilas.
Okay.
It was when like the Spanish Latin music started to come out very strongly, like the Spanish rock, Spanish dance music, Spanish pop, some electronic dance music with the Latin lyrics into it. It started to show up, in the industry here.
Right.
And I kind of was like one of the pioneers into that, because I just started making my own edits, my own remixes, programming my own synthesizers, my own drum machines, and editing my own Pro Tools and making my own versions of it, just for my night at the club, with like really cool, new, fresh Latin pop dance music at that moment.
Okay.
So that was like another 5 years as a resident of this club, good
Wow.
money. Then another club approached me, hey, why don't you come work for us? And I just keep moving from club to club. And
Hmm.
then about 12 years ago, clubs were just, you know, reaching out into young kids. They got like huge social media, or just like they want to be promoters or DJ for tickets or drink tickets like that. And
Right.
that's when I gave up the nightclub industry and started doing mobiles.
Okay.
So doing mobiles, since I got a good, following, a lot of people knew me in the industry. I started to pick up, wedding here, cotillion here and there. And my first year was like, I'm gonna go under my DJ name, DJ Rocco Mix here in Chicago. I'm gonna
Okay.
go by that. And I picked up probably about 10, 12 gigs on my own for the year. I was like, okay, well, this is still better than trying to DJ for drink tickets at the club anymore. So forget it. I'm just gonna stick to mobiles.
Right.
But then a good friend of mine told me, like, hey, why don't you just brand yourself as a business, as a company, instead of as you as a person, because you already
Okay.
had following, you had a history and everything. But I think you can start it as a business.
Right.
I think it could be a good move. And I thought about it. It was like, you know what? It makes a lot of sense, because if I want to do as a multi operation, because I always had that plan to be at the club and send somebody to do my gigs until I make
Right.
the full transition into be mobile. And so I was like researching for a name, like, well, what should I call myself? And then for that, I mean, me and my brother, we decided to rent a little warehouse space by Gear Club Direct over there. If you guys are familiar with
On
that
the
store,
northwest side of
Red
Chicago.
Lewis.
Yeah.
Before it was Audio Lines.
Sure.
Uh, Also, another chapter of my life, I worked for them after I left Midwest Stereo. Midwest Stereo, I worked for like 14 years as a sales and Audio Lines, another 5 years
Got
sales
it.
also. So next to that place, there was like a little open space for a warehouse. So we
Mm-hmm.
rented out, me and my brother, and we're like, one day we're just brainstorming, what should we call ourselves, because also my brother was a well-known DJ on the Latino scene, Rico Suave. So it was more like the urban reggaeton DJ. But we both gave up the club scene and decided to go more mobile. And we're like,
Gotcha.
what should we call ourselves? Like, okay, well, let's research, why we want to branch into the Latino market. There are quinceañeras, the cotillions, and there are a bunch of weddings. So cotillions, as you guys know, it's a huge industry. Lots of party. These kids, they just throw like the biggest parties now. And we were looking at what should we call? What should we call? It's like we kind of like the name Pink, because Pink relates the quinceañera market. So should we call Pink Entertainment, Pink Magic? And I'm like, okay, why don't we just call Pingnoids ourselves? Like, let's search, see if there's trademarks, all kind of attachments to that name. And we found that it was nothing. There was already trademarked or registered as far as like a brand or a company or entity.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's a term, for your sound.
Right.
So, oh yeah, ping noise. Okay, well, cool. I think it makes sense. But what about the logo? It was like, what should we do as far as the logo? So I reached out to a friend of mine who designed covers for my mixtapes, and I told him, hey, I got these two words. I need you to put them all together and just give me a logo with some waves and cool things like that. and he made me the logo. And we toss it up, on social media, and people are like, "Hey, what is that? What is that? What is that?" It's like, okay, well, it's kind of catchy. People are asking about it. Let's keep this logo. This is gonna be our name. This is gonna be our company. That's what we're gonna name ourselves. Pink Noise.
Right. Right.
Right. And then we start going under that brand. Me and my brother, we used to go together and do mobile gigs. But then he went more strong into live sound. Doing live PAs for bands, groups. And suddenly, the first year we were working together, our business just literally went from me having 10 gigs a year to like having 30 gigs a year. And we're like, oh well, this is way too fast. It's way too fast to just triple your business and within a year.
Sure.
So we decided to kind of branch out into two areas of the business. He does live PA. I do the mobile parties, private parties, cotillions, sweet 16s, weddings, and he does the concerts, the festivals, and things like that. So there's two Pink Noise, the Pink Noise DJs and Pink Noise Audiovisual.
Okay.
So that's why we kind of split it in a good way, because we were just getting so cramped up at the warehouse. Like, hey, you got to get your truck out because I got to load up mine. You got to move. And it was just getting messy. So we split, and I went to a different warehouse. And the following year, boom, you got like 60 gigs now. You go from 10 to 20, and now you got 60, 70 gigs in 1 year, and you're not ready for it. So now you hire people, you buy gear. At that point, I was already a dealer for Martin, for RCF, Crown Audio, because I used to do contracting work.
Sure.
Under Midwest Stereo.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just ordering stuff, trying to get credit lines so I can buy gear and just pull these gigs, just get these gigs done, And then now we're like, okay, the new season's coming. We see contracts coming in. It's like, well, we got to reinvest, buy more gear, buy the trucks, do the branding, hire people, insurances, rent, a warehouse space had to be bigger. And then suddenly it just keeps going and going and going. Now we're about 400 or 500 gigs a year of our own. We don't outsource not even a single cable from anybody. I mean,
right.
Trucks are there. My team is amazing. We just bought a building. We're super happy about it. We have a bigger operation, and
so you're now doing 400 or 500 events.
Right.
And you've got like what? You got to have at least 4 or 5. How many trucks do you have now?
6.
6 trucks, all lettered up, big step vans or sprinter vans.
They're all sprinters,
right.
Box trucks, and even little transits.
And then I think you have a 10,000 square foot facility, right?
Yeah, which is acquired about 4 months ago.
Yeah, we're going to be by you in May for our Chicago Disc Jockey Network event. So
yeah, awesome. Nice.
Excited about you hosting us. So I'm going to bring out our taco cart and feed everybody, and it's going to be a nice night. So
I'll have a nice setup. I'll have a nice setup. So if DJs want to come down, do a set, definitely.
Well, we're going to have Chavez demoing that night too. Okay. So pretty excited. So yeah, I told Chavez that the nice part is you're going to have it nice and dark in there. We can fog it up. We can make it look great. So that's that. So no, super excited. So now, okay. So you're now doing 400 and 500 events. What would you say? What would your advice be to someone who wants to break in to the Latin community that may not be Latin? How could someone, I mean, is it possible? If you don't speak Spanish, if you're, what would you say, even for someone like myself who, it's not my scene, it's not my thing. Obviously, there's a language barrier, but let's say I get that phone call and they say, yes, we definitely want you. We saw you at a friend's wedding. We were confident you could do it. What would your advice be to that person?
I would say just stick to research music. Okay,
Okay.
because I think the language at this point, I mean, everybody is either getting married or got the cotillion or something. They all understand English. At
Gotcha.
least 80% of the room will understand English. So the language barrier is really not like a limitation at all. Uh, but the music, I think he has to be known from, he's gonna be like the older crowd, the younger crowd. The super new trends of music are so different than what, like, our parents or even uh, my kids. They're
Right.
like 25 or 30 years. Uh, there's so much music, but it never goes away. You gotta like still throw some stuff from like the dad's library almost, and then you gotta
Gotcha.
go like the peso pluma thing for the kids nowadays.
Okay.
So it's just gotta understand like the whole music path, because it's such a key when you do your sets of how to go from pleasing the older crowd during cocktail dinner, and a little bit of dancing, to the younger kids. They want, like, obviously, I've seen a lot of the. I used to do like this cotillion parties where they ask you nothing but hip hop top 40, 3 years back,
Right.
right? But now they're asking me for like the deepest regional music, Mexican regional music.
Okay.
They're not putting like, oh yeah, I want like the newest pop or the newest hip hop in their playlist. They put in like all the newest Latino influence music that's all trendy on like the top 40 of the Latino community.
So not Bad Bunny, but much deeper than that.
Yeah, well, Bad Bunny's still there. It's still there, but
Right.
there's the urban Latino and there's the original Mexican music,
Okay.
right? And a quinceañera, if you think about it, it's mainly a Mexican tradition.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
Gotcha.
so you got to kind of understand like the music from all spectrums, from, like I said, from back in the days till today's. Language, I don't think it's a problem at all, and just kind of put some sets together for your cocktails, dinners, party time, peak time. So mom and pop's tunes and family, and the basically just then mix it up with all the other top 40 in between, even some line dances. They still love that stuff.
Gotcha. So is there a lot of quick mixing done like that? Like in my world, all of the homecoming dances, all the school dances, even a lot of the weddings, it's all quick mixing. The Latino community, is it, or in this case, the Mexican community, is it all quick mixes, or are you able to play 2/3 of a song and you're good?
Well, I think you have to do quick mixes. Reason being, people are they just get bored of the song. They just want to like
Sure.
the best part of the song, and they just go on to another one. And if you think about it, you only got 3 hours on the event.
Right.
So you're done with dinner, and then you're done with the traditions, the father daughter, the wall surprise dance, and all that stuff on the quinceañera, and then you end up
Right.
with like 2.5 to 3 hours of straight up dancing. So you
So
need to
walk.
match it up.
Sure. Walk. I've never even done a quinceanera. I've never been to a quinceanera. I know nothing. So walk me through the timetable of like what are the typical hours in Chicago for a quinceanera and kind of the traditions. So they start
Oh,
about what time? 6 o'clock, like a wedding?
yeah, yeah. Usually it's at 6 to midnight. That's kind of like the
Okay.
standard time, six to
Got
midnight.
it.
Some of the I would say few venues that will go to like 1 o'clock or 2 in the 2 in the morning.
Okay.
There's a lot of like out of the metro area, like ranches, like
Right.
little private properties,
Sure.
and sometimes we get hired to play to like 3 or 4 in the morning.
But okay, but let's go with the standards.
But
So
the
six
standard, yeah,
o'clock to 7 o'clock. Is it all background music or are there people dancing during cocktail hour?
no, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, you go your cocktail hour, very soft, very chill. You got some mariachi music, you got some Latin
Okay.
music. It all depends, on the culture, because
Sure.
you'll have crowd from Central America, you have a crowd from South America. Majority of the parties we do, they're from Mexico, or
Okay.
Mexican crowd. So they have, okay, I want some mariachi. Uh,
Okay.
so some kids also want, like, hey, it's my party. I want some of my soft pop, into it
Hmm.
as well. So we always let the client kind of guide us with a little bit of a playlist, like what you guys like, or what genres or what songs. Uh,
Okay.
Beauty nowadays is like you can literally build a Spotify playlist and just toss all the songs there. Send me the link. I'll scan
Right.
the Spotify list and see what I already have in my library, what I don't, and just bring
Okay.
it. And so that's
Gotcha.
like the first hour. Then during dinner,
Well, let's go. So, is there an introduction then at 7 o'clock?
oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So,
So, just like a wedding or a bar bat mitzvah.
hmm
And is
yeah,
it just the quinceañera girl that gets introduced, or is it the whole family? What is it?
most of the time it's just the quinceañera,
Okay.
or then will be quinceañera and parents,
Okay.
or sometimes it's quinceañera parents court of honor. It all depends. Some
Okay.
kids are shy and it's like just me and that's it. Uh,
Okay.
Sometimes they want to introduce every single friend that's part of the core. Uh,
Gotcha.
and because there's a lot of padrinos, like the sponsors, right? They
Right.
also want to acknowledge them and the introduction. So there should
Okay.
be there also sometimes a list with all the sponsors. So
Okay.
that typically happens, 10 minutes before dinner's being served.
Okay. So
And
then, so you have your introductions, and then do they do any kind of a religious blessing or anything, or no?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
There's a blessing.
Somebody like either the priest or a member in the family will do the blessing,
Okay. And
and then
then then are there toasts like there is at a wedding?
no, not there,
So,
not at that particular moment, because there
okay.
is a toast as part of the quinceañera program, right?
Okay.
Which happens after dinner.
Okay, so let's back up. So the blessing is so introductions are done, the blessing is done, then what happens? Everyone sits down and eats?
Everybody, yeah, sits down to
Okay.
eat. Once the dinner's over, then you start with the itinerary, like the
And
traditions
there's
of
no dancing during dinner in between courses or anything?
no, not at all.
Okay. Because like at a Jewish
There'll be some,
wedding or at a bar bat mitzvah, there's constant dancing. Dancing,
yeah,
dancing, 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 dancing.
right. Yeah,
Okay.
I noticed that. No, in this case, there will be probably the mariachi playing through the dinner time.
So they'll
Because
actually hire a live mariachi
yeah,
band.
I
Okay.
would say that a good amount of quinceañeras, I want to say at least 6 out of 10, they do
Okay.
have a mariachi
That plays
for
during dinner.
cocktails and dinners.
And so you guys just what? Let them use a microphone and that's it. And they do their thing, and you just kind of
Yeah,
sit in the background and make sure they don't blow anything up.
right. Or we just play the video montage or the slideshow photos
Okay.
on the screen while they eat dinner. So they'll start seeing memories on the screen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very good. And then now dinner's over. So dinner's complete. And then after dinner, what happens? Is it like a Gentile wedding in Chicago where we do some sort of a first dance or daddy daughter dance or?
Right. Right. Yeah, definitely. So at that point, you already have a whole program, especially for quinceañeras, because there you have, the crowning, the changing of shoes.
So it's
Yeah.
explain what that is, because again, I'll be honest, like I've never been to one. I know they exist. So so dinner's over, and what do? You go out on the microphone and you say, "And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for what?"
So now, ladies and gentlemen, start to get this program started, and we start with the crowning. So the crown is basically the little girl. She's the queen of the nine, right? So
And that she's 15, is that right?
she's 15,
15.
right?
Okay.
Right. So the crowning, and then the changing of the shoes. So the changing of the shoes is also a symbolism of going from gym shoes to high heels,
Okay.
as a representation of she's not a little girl anymore,
Right.
right? After that, there's also the sometimes they give them gifts, the
Okay.
special gifts. They bring either jewelry, or sometimes I've seen where they get like a car or a
Oh
horse
wow.
or a dog, you know.
What do you do with a horse in the city of Chicago?
Well, because it's a Mexican tradition, a lot of these people, a lot of the clients, sometimes they own ranches outside of the city.
Okay.
They
All
have their
right.
houses here in Chicago, but they have a ranch. They go on the weekends, and family members they do have each. Maybe
All
dad has
right.
a horse, mom has a horse. Now, why not? My daughter has a horse.
Oh wow, really? Your
Yeah,
daughter has a horse?
yeah.
Okay.
So I've seen that. I've seen that a lot. Yeah.
Right. Did you give it to her at her quinceanera?
My kids and my daughters?
Yeah.
No, they got college money. That's it.
Okay. Gotcha. Very good. All right. So after so there's the pageant and then the program, and so after they're given a gift, are
Right.
there dances and stuff? Because aren't
Then
there
then
like a court?
the father daughter dance, which is really,
Okay.
you do a father daughter dance, and after that you have your waltz, which are with your core of honor, which could be few kids, or sometimes it's just like the brother, sometimes it's just like the best friend. So there's the waltz.
So it's kind of like a bridal party, and they do like a bridal party dance kind of a thing.
Kind of like that, yeah.
Okay.
But all nice kids and everything. Sometimes they do hire a school like choreographers with all the
Okay.
chambelanes. That way, they don't
Gotcha.
have to teach every single friend. So they just go to a school where they hire all the chambelanes and they take care of all the dancers.
And what is it, chapalane
So
for us
chambelanes
gringos?
basically are going to be like the how do I put it? Like all the kids, right? They will be performing the surprise
Okay.
dance or the waltz. Uh,
Gotcha.
so instead of teaching every single friend, they just hire. Well, we need 6 kids, and they already know all the choreographies. So we just hire the company, and then
Oh, and they do the dance
show.
for you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're like NBA cheerleaders. There you go.
Right.
Just, but
Right.
how old are these people?
They're I think maximum like 17 years old, 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got So they're about the same age as the
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
And then the last part of it is the surprise dance. So it's truly a performance of like dancing,
Right.
like a cheerleader dancing, where we put together, or sometimes they put together like a mix of several different genres of music. It could be from
Right.
hip hop to bachata to reggaeton to all kinds of music. So they create a whole show of their performance.
Okay.
And a lot of the cases, they end up with a song that's very common, that everybody's familiar with, and we started the party with that song.
Okay.
And
And
then we
everyone
just
gets
take it from,
invited to the
and
dance
then we
floor.
right, and we just take it from there and start blending in the other music into it, and just building up the dance floor, and just get them going
Okay.
all
And
night.
then is it just open dancing the rest of the night? Are there any
Yeah,
other traditions, like at a wedding, how there might be a bouquet or garter later or anything, or is it just all dancing?
that after that is all dancing. It's all dancing.
Gotcha.
It's all about keeping the dance floor, and then there'll be nowadays there'll be shows like the LED robots. They come out of nowhere,
Sure.
Then the CO2 guns, the party favors, um, glow sticks, peanut
Gotcha.
heads, bunch of stuff comes out.
I think
And
you know my friend Ricky from LED Bot.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We keep them
His
at
well, you know his dad, Scott, who's an old
yeah,
school DJ. Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
good.
So I talked to Scott today. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Ricky since literally from his beginnings. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah. So he's got the big LED suit and he's got the CO2 guns and the whole thing, and he comes out as a surprise generally, yes?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we
Yeah.
kind of like uh, set up a time, but no one expects to see the robot just walking into the dance floor. So they just go like, "Wow!" and they go crazy. The
Right.
tempo, the music just goes up into more energetic music. Uh, you pick the party at that moment for like a whole hour, and then people just stay there. Have a great time.
Okay. And so then you also, we talked about how many vehicles you have, but you do major production at these events, right? LED walls, video screens, moving lights. You have an LED dance floor or two, yes?
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. And what would you say, like, what percentage of the people does that community want to for lack of a better word, outdo each other? Or is it just really like a wedding? It could be something simple one day, and the next day, the next customer's got craziness. Because I know when I used to do bar and bat mitzvahs, everybody wanted to do something different and something unique, especially if the kids were all in the same school district and they go to 20, 30 parties a year. We always had to figure out different games, different dances, different looks. So is that the same thing in the quinceañera community?
I think it is the same in certain scale, right?
Okay,
Because the little girls they want like a better party than like their friend,
sure.
or at least they follow the trends. They follow a lot of things they see that's been done as far as like in the industry. Oh yeah, there's this other cool things for my quinceañera, and I want him, and I'm gonna tell my dad because my dad is gonna give it to me. You know,
Okay,
so so over the years we've been evolving because of that, but at the same time trying to be like the first ones bringing this on
sure.
just from competitive point. So we want to step ahead of everybody and try to do things different. And the video panels are part of it. The moving heads being programmed properly for every scene of the night is part of it. The dance floor now. I didn't want to invest in a dance floor, but people were like, "Oh, you don't have a dance floor," and I would lose business. You
Okay,
know, because in Mexico, every party had a dance floor.
really?
So I'm like, okay, well then I gotta look into a dance floor, and we're like, okay, well I can get a video dance floor, and that'll be the coolest thing for the next couple of years, and hopefully I get my investment, back somehow. I mean, it's doing great, but it's so expensive and so hard to move around. But
Yeah.
people are just, I want it, and sometimes I booked it, and I don't have two of those, you know.
Okay.
So now I had to invest in another one, a different kind, and that's been happening with all of our gear because you built a setup with some video panels, and now suddenly you got to replicate that two or three times for the same weekend.
Gotcha.
So because I got to have three of those setups for three of the parties. They want like the same setup or bigger because every party they want to outdo the other one. You know.
Okay. Now, on that subject, comparing it to bar bat mitzvahs, do you have what's the typical number of people? Like, is it a mixing DJ and an MC? Is the MC like out on a stage getting the people pumped up, or does the DJ also get them pumped up? Is it like a, and I mean, I'm sure you have lighting techs and sound techs there, but the question is like, what size of a team do you generally have at an average quinceanera?
I would say three guys. It's for like a bigger production. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, but when I say three guys, are like three really well trained guys, and they know like ins and outs. But if I
Okay.
was to go with a big setup by myself and with five new guys, I mean, I will need to find new guys
Gotcha.
because not everyone knows exactly what they're doing. But we spend quite a bit of time on training people so they can solve problems on their own, and they know exactly what to do at a venue, and also with the amount of gear that we go on.
Sure. Well, I know in the bar and bat mitzvah world, it was not uncommon for us to have 6 or 7 people on a party all the time.
Mhm.
We'd have generally, depending on the amount of kids there, we'd have anywhere from 2 to 4 dancers, an MC, and then a designated DJ. And then sometimes there'd be a roadie slash lighting guy. It just depended on the size of our setup and such. So that's all. And this was also, I stopped doing bar and bat mitzvahs right about the time photo booths really exploded. I just
Mhm.
didn't want to. It just I got too old and too fat to be jumping up and down on speakers every day. So that's all. Now on that subject, you're a year younger than me. Are you still like, do the little girls still love you and the teenagers love you, or are you kind of at that dad age? Do they want the younger, hipper? Call it the new Menudo. You know how Menudo would always kick people out of the band when they got to be a certain age, and
Right.
is
You
it
know
the
what?
same thing? Do they want the young hip kids
I
or
think they do. I think they do. Quite honestly, I think they do because and let's be real. I did clubs, and I was a lot younger there. But when I turned like almost 40, I was like, well, I don't fit here anymore.
Okay.
Uh, I'm not uh, how do I put it? Yeah, I still maybe look all right. You're not as
Right.
old, but there's older kids are coming in with a different fashion, and I go with my nice shirt,
Sure.
iron and everything. I don't fit in that club scene anymore. So I
Gotcha.
was like, hey, I either change and be like them, or I either go move into the next chapter.
Gotcha.
So same thing with what I'm doing right now.
So you traded in clubs with people in their 20s and 30s for 15-year-olds. That's what you're
Right.
telling me.
Right.
Okay.
So, but then here I'm looking at, okay, I can still do the mobile. I can put a great production. I know what music needs to be played. Uh, but the dads and moms, they used to go to the clubs when I was a DJ. So they're
Sure.
like, oh, I want you as a DJ for my daughter's quinceañera. I want you as a DJ for my daughter's wedding or my son's wedding. So they
Okay.
hire me. So since I've been around in the industry, I mean, they don't see you as, yeah, you're older, you shouldn't be doing this. They look at you as like, oh, you're experienced, So I'd rather go with
Sure.
somebody that's experienced.
Good.
But I
Good.
do have young kids. They're doing great, and uh, people really call me like, hey, can you send me John's guy? Can you send me this guy? Cause send me this other guy because they did great at
Okay.
my party. I'm like, okay.
Great. Now,
So
in the bar bat mitzvah market, I know that the kids, the trick is always the MC is always trying to make have the kids think they're totally cool. And
mhm.
you want the kids to love you so that they go, Mom, I want Roberto at my party. I want KC at my party. Is it the same way in quinceanera market? Like, how do you market to the quinceanera market? Is it just people who see you, or do you go into a lot of highly Hispanic school districts and, show off and, kind of promote yourself that way?
No, I mean, I would say they don't. First of all, we're not like the bar mitzvah where we have to connect with the kids, right?
Okay.
Because we're not doing strictly with the kids. It's like we're doing it with the family, and within the family, you got the parents, you got the uncles, you got the cousins, and you got the high school kids. They're coming with the girl for the quinceañera,
Right.
you know. But also in the Latino market, this party, I would say it is 50% made for the family and 50% made for the kid. Because they
Well, in the
do
bar
want
mitzvah
to,
world, there's still the brothers and the cousins and that. Granted, they're in the 12 and 13-year-old age, so it's still 2 years makes a big, big difference. Your age is already starting to learn how to drive a car, whereas it's a little bit different vibe. But I was just curious. So you market yourself then to the Latino community primarily just from doing a great job at every single party. Is that pretty much it?
that. Also, I do a lot of the branding. I mean, if you look at my trucks, I mean, they got logos all over the place. The
Oh
clothes
yeah,
we
no,
wear,
you're well branded. Yeah.
So I branded myself out there, especially at the events. At the
If I
events,
wanted if I wanted to make some real money, I would open up a Sinorama and just take care of all of your stuff. That's where the money's at. So,
so yeah, that I do that a lot.
yeah.
I change business cards every so often. I make
Okay.
t-shirts all the time. I make coffee cups all the time. So all my clients, they come in and talk to me. They will take my brand somewhere and put it on the fridges if they want.
Okay.
You know,
Now, is your brother still involved with the business or is he just doing live AV stuff?
he does live AV. Yeah, so
Okay.
he
So
basically
he
does
has his entity and you have your entity.
right. We
Okay.
share the logo. We share the logo. Our
Gotcha.
logo it's us. But we two entities. He does the
Okay.
AV part, production concerts. Cuban Fest, Puerto Rican Fest, Colombian Fest, all those
Oh
big
wow.
stages.
So he's
So,
had some big, big stuff
yeah,
then.
yeah, big stuff.
Oh
Big
wow.
stuff.
Great. Great,
Yeah.
great, great.
So all that.
Excellent. All right. So we're excited to have you. Our time is running up here. But for those of you watching or watching this on the rebroadcast, you'll be able to watch it on YouTube. Roberto's going to be talking about kind of what we just talked about, but not as in an interview format, but how to get into the Latino community, what a quinceañera will be like, pretty much all things Latin. It was brought up by some other people at other shows that there isn't a Latin flair, at the DJ shows, and I've had the good fortune of getting to know Roberto, and you've been to Marquee at least what, 3 times probably?
Yeah, the last
Yeah.
3 years.
So you know us, we know you, and so when I asked you to speak, you graciously said yes, and I'm extremely excited about having you. And I said we're going to sit down and talk and help you with your presentation, so you absolutely kill it. So yes, June 23rd through the 26th is the Marquee Show here in Chicago at the Westin O'Hare Hotel at the corner of River and Higgins. It's going to be another great show, and Roberto's speaking. I believe we've got you on Wednesday, speaking on all things Latin, is I think how I put it out there. So, and then you'll be hanging out all week like you did last year. So, that's it. If somebody wanted to reach out to you because they had questions about anything, how do they get in touch with you, Roberto?
Well, you can send me an email at pignochicago@gmail.com because this is my general email.
Okay.
Text, I'm the best guy at text. You shoot me a text, 773-988-7269. I'll reply back. I'm still all guy. I always pick up the phone.
And you're also, is it thepinknoise.com or what's your website?
Yeah, thatpignoise.com. Yeah, that's our website.
There you go. So that's it.
Yep.
Very good. So, okay, guys, once again, all things Marquee at marqueeshow.com. Follow us on Marquee Show on Facebook as well as the Marquee Show community page. And we're still fighting with Meta to get our Instagram back. So there's that. And if anyone's on X, I don't even know if we even show up on X anymore. But that's that. So we look forward to seeing you. Please drop a note to us. And if you've got any questions that you'd like to see Roberto cover at Marquee because you're coming, shoot me a note, shoot Roberto a note. We'll make sure that your questions get answered at Marquee. So that's that, guys. Roberto, thanks again. John, are you still with us?
Yep, I am.
All right. So thank you to John, our producer from Disc Jockey News. And we will see you next Wednesday. Everybody have a happy, healthy Easter. He is risen. And we'll see you all next week. Thanks, guys.
Good night.